Hey there, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another one of my tutorial slash first impression videos. So I pulled out a bunch of products that I recently received and I wanted to do a tutorial with them and then give you my first impressions as I'm doing them. So my skin is all prepped. I actually used the Murad Oil Control Mattifier, which is one of my favorite products for the summer. It's like literally one of my like holy grail mattifiers. And it works really well under makeup, like as a makeup primer. I typically put an SPF on top of it though. No, sorry. I put an SPF beneath it, underneath it, and then I put this on top as the last step before I do my foundation. So we are going to be working with the Tom Ford foundation stick, which I talked about in one of my foundation videos. And one of you guys gave me a really great tip to use a stippling brush because I said I had some trouble applying it. So one of you guys gave me a great tip about using a stippling brush and kind of working it on the top of the foundation. Let me get a paper towel here so I'm all set. And I am going to try that and see how it works because like I said, it tends to not work so well when I like stripe it right onto my skin. But I'm hoping that this technique will work a little bit better. I really do love this foundation. It is a stunning, stunning, stunning foundation. It's just finding, and you know what? Also someone recommended a beauty blender. So if I don't love this application, which it's actually applying pretty nicely, but I'm going to give the beauty blender a go as well. I literally just applied that mattifier before I turned on the camera, so my skin's probably a little bit red. It always gets like a little bit red, just probably being flushed from rubbing my skin with the mattifier. So you know what, I might need like a denser brush for right around my nose area, covering up any large pores. So that's maybe a downside to using this stippling brush. But so far it's looking really great and I love this foundation. I wasn't sure that it would work for someone with oily skin like myself because it really gives like a glowy, fresh, makeup-y finish. But I actually have been loving it and it works really well on my oily skin. I just need like a setting powder with it and then I'm pretty much good to go. But I'm going to try a new mattifying powder today, so let's see if that works. And I have the shade 1.5. Oh my god, I have a huge pimple coming in right on my forehead, so I've got to like try and cover that as much as possible. Ugh. I rarely get blemishes like on my forehead, it's more my chin, you know, for hormonal reasons, but it just decided to pop up. Who knows why? Okay. Alright, so it's all finished. I really think it's a beautiful, beautiful finish. And like I said, it does give like kind of a glowy, you can see it, a little bit glowy of a finish. And the brush I used was the Zoeva stippling brush, which I thought was really nice. Okay, so I'm just going to throw on my eyeshadow primer potion. This one obviously is a staple. I never changed this. It's my Urban Decay. Even though I'm using a cream eyeshadow today, I always use a primer potion, even when I use cream eyeshadow. And I go between that and the NARS. And I'll just pat it in. Then I'm going to do my brows. I went back to my Hourglass brow tool, which I really like. I need to get my brows done, so I'm going to fill them in the best that I can, even though there's like stray hairs everywhere. Don't you hate that? Like when you need to get your brows done and yet you're trying to like salvage them in a look, even though you know there's like tons of like stray brows. And I'm not a plucker, I will say. I don't pluck in between appointments because I like my hair to fully grow in so she has enough to work with to really give it a good shape. But it is such a struggle those last few days. I'm going this week. I actually went on my trip to get my brows done. A reader suggested somewhere in New Orleans. It was like $10 and she did such a good job. It was so good. If you guys live in New Orleans, send me a message and I will tell you where I went if you're interested. Okay. That's about as good as I'm going to get the brows, especially because they're like needing to be done. I just want to make sure they're... Okay. All right, now I'm going to go on to the mattifying powder. So I recently received this Bareminerals, the Matte and Glow. Brilliant. It's like a new powder duo that they came out with, and I'm really excited to try it. I'm going to be using the matte side, though I did swatch the glow side, and it is glowy. And I feel like if you want a glow on your skin, this glow powder is beautiful. I may use it in another video. My mirror. I may use it in another video that I have like a more of a matte foundation, but this mattifying powder is quite nice. You know what I always struggle with? Like my forehead, like making sure that it's matte enough. Just that I have a really large forehead. This is my first time using it. Like I said, this is like a first impressions video. It's really, really smooth. It's not as like super, super matte as typically what I'm used to, like my Viteri hyaluronic powder. That stuff is matte. But that's like my mattifying miracle. I can't live without that stuff. But this is really, really beautiful. But it gives like a soft matte. And you know what it does? It kind of like blurs imperfections too, which I thought was really, really nice. Kind of liking it. Okay, so that's the Bareminerals kind of matte. It's not too flat. I don't know if it looked too flat on camera, but in person it does not look too flat. Okay, so let's go on to eyes. I'm going to try the Chantecaille new cream eyeshadows. I have it in the shade Mermaid, which of course is a golden peach color, or actually more of like a golden color rather than like too peachy. And I'm trying to think what kind of brush would be best for this. I'm thinking like a flat brush is best. Actually, I'm using a Chantecaille brush. So it's a cream. Ooh, this is beautiful. Never tried their cream eyeshadows before, but I'm already a Chantecaille like lover. I'm like obsessed with their makeup and their skincare, especially their makeup. Like I feel like it's, I mean, I see people talk about it, but I don't see people, like I don't see it buzzed about as much as like some other lines, and I'm like, why not? It is one of the best lines, and this eyeshadow is absolutely gorgeous. So it's a cream, but it kind of balls up like a powder as you're putting your brush in. So it applies like a powder in the way that it just glides over, rather than, you know, when you have like a really thick cream eyeshadow and you kind of need to like really kind of move it around with your finger because it kind of sticks. This is almost like a cream powder hybrid. And because as I'm blending it, the particles are just kind of like gently moving very easily as if it were a powder. You know, when you put a powder on and it just kind of moves really easily. This color is beautiful. Oh no, I'm like, they came out with 4 shades. One was like a kind of deep, like, I think it was called like Lagoon or something. It was like a deep teal, which I don't know if that would be for me necessarily, but this color, Seashell, OMG. It is, can you see that? It is just so beautiful. You know, I'm already obsessed with their Luxe Chrome eyeshadow duos. Oh my god. Like, I live for this. Okay, whoa, what is this? I mean, you can tell I really didn't prep for this video. I want it to be a true first impressions video because I just looked at this mascara and I was like, what is this? It's the Estee Edit by Estee Lauder. And it has, oh, I guess it has a mascara on one end and, ooh, like an itty bitty mascara on the other. So it's a double mascara. Up and out double mascara. Oh, 1 volume and 1 lift. All right, I'm going to use the volume side because that tends to be my jam. I love a good volumizing mascara. So I've never tried anything from the Estee Edit collection. They sent me a few products. This was one of them. They also sent me like a flash illuminator. So I'm curious as to what that's going to be like. And this is getting all over me because the wand is so tiny. That's the only thing. So the wand is very tiny, as you can see, because it's like a half and half mascara. It's definitely giving like a defined lash. I would probably need like a ton more coats to really build this up. It's a very, very, very wet formula. Like I can literally feel as I'm applying it, like it's very, very wet. It's one of those ones where you do not want to move your eyes after applying because it could potentially go everywhere. Did you ever do that? Like the other day, I put on mascara and then I went to blink my eyes. I don't know why, something got in them or something, and the mascara was like all on my upper brow and then like on my lower underneath my eyes. It was like a complete like cleanup job. It was awful. Okay. First impressions, the first few swipes, no. However, as I'm building it, it is turning out to be a very, very, very beautiful mascara. So, I don't know if you can see, but it is turning out to be quite a beautiful mascara. I don't know, I don't want to take up too much time, but let's just see what this little side does. This is supposed to lift. Ooh. Ooh, this side is thick. Yowzas. This side is like a teeny tiny little brush. Many people may use it probably for like, ooh, got on my hair. Remember that last time? It like got on my hair and then it like got all on my face. Not cute. Many people may use this probably for like maybe a bottom lash mascara. I don't do bottom mascara. We've talked about this before. It smudges. Blah. Okay. It is, final result, I really am enjoying it. So this is the tiny little brush. Teeny weeny weeny brush. And, okay, so moving on to another first product that I'm trying for the first time. I have a little rogue hair here. And it is the Kwan Neo Bronzer. So it kind of like blends all together. I've been reading about some people's experience with this, and some people are kind of like, about it because they find it hard to kind of get in there with all the colors. So let me see. First going to start with the bronze shade. Ooh, there's a lot of powder kick up, which is fine. Doesn't typically bother me. And I'm just going to kind of take the bronze shade and just as a light, but as people were saying, the bronze shade definitely picks up some of the peach because it all is kind of blended together. And I'm just kind of, I took a really tiny brush this time, I don't know why. I guess I was trying to give a little bit of a contour, but... And people were saying that they didn't like the peachiness of it. However, I love a peachy bronzer. I really, really do. Some people are like, ew, orange bronzers. And I'm like, I kind of like an orangey bronzer. It just kind of works for me. I got a bigger brush this time, so. And like I said, I'm just like dabbing it. That's how I like. Into the bronzy side, which inevitably is picking up the peachy side. Definitely pretty though. I'm not gonna lie, it's definitely very, very pretty. I want to make sure to buff it out a little bit with that whatever additional powder I had from the Bareminerals. So it's not too much. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the shimmer shade and pop that. So it's this shade right over here, which again has some of that peach in there. Just for the sake of the video, I'm going to be putting it on. I probably wouldn't use too much of this with this foundation because, like I said, this foundation is quite dewy. It does give a little bit of a glow. It definitely is really pretty. I don't know if you can see that glow, but it definitely is a really kind of fresh look. Okay, well, I really enjoy it, I gotta say. I know people have been like, ooh, about it, but, and you know what? The name is not on the bottom here. So I have to get the name, and what I will do is I will put the name in the description box below. I'm just tapping it into the peach side to see if I can just add a little bit of peach on the cheeks. Just to see a little bit of a flush. It really is beautiful, though. I gotta say. I know people were like a little skeptical about it, but I think it's beautiful. Okay, and so, like I said, I'll link the color below. I pulled out a red lipstick, but let me just reach off camera here. I'm trying the new Urban Decay Vice lipsticks, and I pulled out a red one, and I'm thinking, should we go with red? I wish this was like live time so you guys can be like, yes, go with red. Let's go with the red. But I'm going to be doing a swatch video showing them on, and this is the new Urban Decay Vice in Mega Matte. So it's a kind of a classic red, it seems, and I just felt like a neutral eye. Oh, I just got an eye teeth. Don't you hate that? And okay, these are really, really matte. I have not tested these out before, and they are very matte, but it's definitely more matte probably than I would have anticipated. Sometimes mattes are definitely becoming a lot more like comfortable. Like a lot of brands are making matte lipsticks. Just gonna blot it a little bit. But as I move it around my lips, it definitely is comfortable, though it's not a very slippery matte. Like there are some matte lipsticks out there, I can't really think of one right now, but it definitely does kind of like, you can have some movement. This, when I applied it, felt like it was drying immediately on my lips, so there's not a lot of like room for error, I would say. But I will say that I don't really need to, it's not very, you know when you apply some matte lipsticks and it's like it's so high maintenance, like you have to like touch it up with like concealer and that kind of thing. I didn't really feel that with this. I felt like it glided on and it wasn't like bleeding, or the bullet wasn't too high where it was like going over my lips and I had to clean it up with concealer, as you can see. So here is the finished look, and I really feel, once again, it's a typical look that I do, but I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about some of these new products that I just got in and give you my first impressions as we're going. I will link everything down in the description box below, and I will talk to everyone soon. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.